Very good morning, dear students. Today we are going to deal with our first one poem, that is The Road Not Taken. The Road Not Taken. This poem is this well-known poem is written by the well-known American writer, American poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost actually writes about these simple, common, ordinary experiences, but the way he writes makes us think over that common, ordinary thing. Yes, that way he writes makes us think. So same here, the poet in this poem, the road not taken, he is talking about making choices. Look at here, the theme of the poem, we can say the theme of the poem is making choices. Okay, this poem is about making choices. And as we know that at every step of our life, at every step, हर एक कदम पर in our life we make choices, or we have a lot of choices. Among them we have to choose any one. So same here in this poem, The Road Not Taken, the poet is talking about our life, how a choice that we choose, an option that we make, or the career that we choose decides our future, decides our destination. Means the choice that we make decides our future, simply we can say. So why do the poet, or why does the poet write this poem? Actually here he wrote this poem to guide us. Here he wrote this poem to realize, he wanted to realize us that the choice that we make in our life should be chosen very, very carefully, with what can I say, the deep thinking. Yes, with thorough details. Means the choice that we make, which decides our future, decides our destination, that must be chosen carefully. This is the main message, we can say. This is the main message that the poet wants to say us through this poem, The Road Not Taken. And here, The Road Not Taken, this title is about the options, the careers, the choices that we do not choose in our life. We left such choices in our past. So here the poet is talking about the choices that are left. Yes, so let's see what the poet is saying here. But first of all, you must know that the poem is about, simply we can say this line is very important. The poem, The Road Not Taken, is about making choices. Making choices. And here this Robert Frost poem is well-known American poet. American poet. Okay. Second thing here, The Road Not Taken. The Road Not Taken is about, this is about the choices. The choices or path, we can say, or options or paths that we have not chosen, that we have not chosen in our life in the past. In the past. So this poem is about the choices that are left, or that we have not chosen in our life in the past. So let's see what is given there in the first stanza. Look at there. two roads diverge in a yellow wood, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So look at there, in this poem or in this first stanza, the first word is diverged. Okay, diverged. What is meaning of diverged? Diverged means separated in two parts. Okay, so here diverged means separated. Okay, means here we can say the road was diverged into two parts, or where here the poet found himself, means while he was walking along a road in the forest, he found himself at an intersection where the road was divided into two, so here the same thing here he says, the two roads diverged in a yellow wood. So look at the yellow wood. Here this yellow wood is about, or it is talking about the forest in autumn season. And as we know that in autumn season the leaves become yellow. Yes, so here this yellow, it is actually talking about the color of leaves in the autumn season. Okay, but again another figurative meaning is there of this yellow wood. Actually here another figurative meaning we can say, that is, it is about the old people. Okay, means here he says that yellow wood means actually here the poet is talking about the old people. This whole world is full of old people. Yes, and among them the poet found himself at a point where the road was diverged into two. That means poet was having two options in his life in the past. Actually here the poet is talking about past, where he was at the point where he has two options and had to choose anyone, और उनको वहां से कोई भी एक ऑप्शन चुनना था. So here the beginning you can say the poet found himself at an intersection where the road was diverged into two, or divided into two roads or two paths. So here these two roads means two career options. Yes, the another meaning we can say, the hidden meaning. Okay, so these two roads means two career options, and poet has to choose anyone. And here the yellow wood actually represents here the world of old people. That means older than the poet से ज़्यादा उम्र के जो लोग हैं, उन लोगों की जो पूरी दुनिया है उसको वहाँ उन्होंने येलो वुड कहा गया है. येलो जिसे हम ओल्ड कहते हैं, बुजुर्ग, मतलब पतझड़ का मौसम, उस समय वो जो पत्तियां होती है मरने के कगार पे आ चुकी होती, मतलब ज़्यादा उम्र की होती है, तो उसी को लेकर उन्हें ज़्यादा उम्र के लोगों को एक येलो वुड कहा है पूरी दुनिया को. And there, look at the what was the question before the poet? As he said, he found himself at an intersection where the road was diverged into two. So then what happened? And sorry, I could not travel both. Look at there. He said in the poem, he said, or he apologized. He apologized there, saying that he could not travel the both paths. He could not travel, and it is obvious No one could travel both the paths at a time. Yes, at a single time or at the same time, no one could walk both the roads or both the paths, or no one could choose both options, both career options. Like कहा जाता है मराठी में, एक न धड़ बराबर चिंदिया. That may happen if you choose or if you went on both the paths. अगर तुम दोनों पाथ पे अगर निकल जाते तो यही चीज हो सकती थी कि इसमें भी सक्सेस नहीं, उसमें भी सक्सेस नहीं. And that's why here the poet says sorry. In the second line, look at there, the poet says sorry. Why? Because here he said he felt sorry because he could not travel both the options, he could not travel both the paths. Yes. Then here he says why he felt sorry or why he could not travel both the paths. Because in the third line, look at there, he says, and be one traveler. Be one traveler. And it is simple that if you are only one traveler, could not travel both the paths. अगर तुम अकेले ट्रैवलर हो तो दोनों रोड पे नहीं चल सकते. So same thing here he said, being only one traveler, I could not travel both the paths. I could not go on both the paths. So here he felt sorry for that. He apologized for his what you can say inability to walk on both the paths. And why he was unable to walk both the paths? Because he was the only one traveler that time. That time he was the only one traveler, and that's why he could not walk both the paths which were available there before him. Okay, so then what happened there? As he was the only one traveler, he had two options, but had to go anyone. So what he did, and if we were there, what we had done if we were there. अगर हम वहां उनकी जगह होते तो क्या करते, और इन्होंने क्या किया. Same, if we were there, we must have done same thing as the poet had done. Same thing. What क्या किया पोएट ने then? What did he do? उन्होंने क्या किया? When he found himself at such a point, he found himself in such a situation where he could travel anyone having between the two paths. So look there, being a reasonable man, like a reasonable man, एक समझदार आदमी की तरह देखो इन्होंने क्या किया. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. Long I stood. Look at there. The poet stood up there for some time. Stood up there at that intersection point for some time. He stood for long time there. For some time. Instead of say long time, for some time. He stood up there. वो वहीं पर खड़े रहे कुछ समय के लिए. Long I stood. Inversion. Okay, actually inversion is there. I stood for a long time. The construction is this one. Okay, but inversion. Okay, जब correct words का order follow नहीं होता है, that is called inversion, the figure of speech. Okay, so now look at there, what he said. Long I stood and looked down the one as far as I could. That means he stood up there for some time at that point, and then he looked down one. Look down one means he observed the first one between them. वो जो दो रोड थी, दो रोड में से किसी एक रोड को, पहली रोड को he looked down, he observed, he looked down carefully the first one road as far as he could. As far as he could, मतलब जितना हो सकता है उतना उन्होंने उस पहली रोड को ऑब्जर्व किया. उसका कारण मीमांसा, मतलब जो होते हैं ना आपकी डिटेल्ड इंफॉर्मेशन निकाली जाती है. व्हेन यू हैव टू ऑप्शंस इन योर लाइफ, यू फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गो थ्रू दैट फर्स्ट वन पाथ और करियर ऑप्शन, गेट डिटेल्ड इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट इट, व्हाट आर द करियर ऑप्शंस, व्हाट विल बी द फ्यूचर. वी थिंक अबाउट ऑल दोज. सो सेम हियर, द पोएट stood for a long time there and thought thoroughly or look down carefully the first one path as far as he could. जितना हो सकता है उतना उन्होंने पहले रोड को गौर से देखा. And he looked down the first one path to where it bent in the undergrowth. Undergrowth means bushes. Okay, bushes जो झाड़ी झुड़ियों की जो bushes होती है एकदम घनी मात्रा में होती है, dense bushes. Okay, तो dense bushes जो होती है वहां, मतलब ये देखिए इन्होंने, he looked down the first one path until it was bent in the undergrowth. That means until it was bent. Bent means a curve we can say. जैसे कर्व होता है ना, बेंड एंड एकदम झुका हुआ है थोड़ा सा, तो रोड जब तक वो झुकी हुई ना दिखी, मतलब किसी अंडरग्रोथ में वो गायब ना हो गई, डेंस बुशेस में गायब ना हो गई, तब तक उस रोड को उन्होंने देखा. Yes, he looked down the first one path until it was vanished behind the underbushes or undergrowth. Yes, dense bushes. Until it was vanished under growth, dense bushes. That means he looked down. He observed the first one path very, very carefully until it was bent or until it was hidden or vanished behind the dense bushes. Simply we can say here he observed the first one path very, very, very carefully. Yes, so this is about the first one path and first one first one stanza. So did you understand here? In the first stanza what is given there? The poet Robert Frost found himself at an intersection where the road was divided into two. Yes, and there he said, or he apologized there, for he could not travel both the paths because he was the only traveler. So what happened there? As he was the only traveler and could not travel both the paths, so he stood up there for a long time and observed the first one path very, very carefully until it was bent in the undergrowth or until it was vanished behind the dense bushes. So this way, this is a paraphrase of first one stanza. Got it? Understood? Now look at there. In our another one video lecture, we will see the remaining part. Okay, if you have any query, just make me contact or ask me in our group. Okay, so dear guys, the remaining part we will do in our next video lecture. Bye bye. See you soon in our next video lecture. Bye bye. Keep watching and enjoy.